Hey Victor, what's up? What are you doing? Oh, okay. Hello. Welcome to English Friend. I'm Mujib, and in today's video I'm going to talk about verb and types of verb in English language. سلام دوستان، به انگلیش فرند خوش آمدین. من مجیب هستم و در ویدیوی امروز در مورد فعل و انواع فعل صحبت خواهیم کرد. In the previous lesson, I defined the verb as the verb shows a state or action. در ویدیو قبلی ما فعل را تعریف کردم که فعل یک حالت یا هم یک عمل را نشان میده. And today we are going to talk about the types of verb in details. Okay? Let's get started. The first type of verb that we want to talk about is a state verb or a stative verb. It shows a state. It does not show any physical action. Okay? A state verb یا فعل هایی که state هستن اینا حالت را نشان میدن و کدام عمل را نشان نمیدن، کدام عمل فیزیکی را نشان نمیدن. The words like have, be, think, own can be good examples of a stative verb. کلمات مانند داشتن یعنی have, be بودن، think فکر کردن، own مالک بودن میتونن مثال های خوبی از stative verb باشن. Okay? Let's look at an example. I have a marker. I have a marker. In this example, the word have is the verb, and it is a stative verb. And it does not show any physical action. It just shows the state. Okay? در جمله که گفتم I have a marker، کلمه have فعل جمله ماست و کدام عمل فیزیکی را نشان نمیده. فقط یک حالت را نشان میده که من مارکر دارم. Okay? And another example, Victor likes chocolate. Victor likes chocolate. So in this example, the word like is the verb in the sentence. And it is a stative verb. And it does not show any physical action. در جمله بعدی ما که گفتیم Victor likes chocolate یعنی ویکتور خوش داره چاکلت را. like فعل جمله ماست که خوش داشتن نشان میده و کدام عمل فیزیکی را نشان نمیده، فقط یک حالت را نشان میده. Okay? The other type of verb is action verb, which is also called dynamic verbs. Now دیگه فعل ما action verb یعنی افعال هستن که عمل نشان میدن یا به نام dynamic هم یاد میشن. The words like eat, drink, run, go can be good examples of the action verbs. کلمات مانند eat یعنی خوردن، drink نوشیدن، run دویدن، go رفتن میتونن مثال های خوبی از افعال action verb یا افعال باشن که یک عمل فیزیکی را نشان میدن. Okay? For example, he eats chocolate, or we can say he eats pizza. Now in this example, the word eat is the verb of the sentence and it shows an action. Okay? It shows a physical action. در مثالی که ما گفتیم که he eats pizza، در این مثال he که سابجکت جمله ما هست، eat فعلش است، عمل است که انجام میده، یک عمل فیزیکی است، یعنی خوردن را نشان میده. خوردن خودش یک عمل فیزیکی است و حالت نیست. به این خاطر اینا را action verbs یا افعال که عمل نشان میدن یادشان میکنن. So what are the differences? What are the differences between the stative verbs and dynamic verbs? Okay, there is a very common mistake that most of the students do, and that is using the ing with the state verbs, which is completely incorrect. You should not use ing with the stative verbs because they do not have the ing form. یکی از اشتباهات را که بسیار وقت شاگردان معمولا انجام میدن این است که امرای stative verbs یعنی افعالی که حالت نشان میدن ing استفاده میکنن که کاملا اشتباه است، چرا اینا شکل ing فرم ندارن. For example, we cannot say Victor is liking chocolate. Victor is liking chocolate. This is a completely incorrect sentence because like is a stative verb and it does not take ing form. Or I cannot say that I am having a marker. Okay? Because have is also a stative verb and it does not take the ing form. Okay? But we can use ing form with action verbs. Okay, for example, as I gave you the example before, he is eating chocolate or he is eating pizza. Now we can give eat the ing form because it's an action verb and it does take ing. Okay, so be careful not to do the mistake I said. Okay, so let's move to the next type of verb, which is main verb. It's also called ordinary verb, and helping verb, which is also called auxiliary verbs. Okay, now what are main verbs? So the verbs in sentences, according to their function, they are ordinary or auxiliary. There are some verbs that they can be both ordinary and auxiliary at the same time. The only difference is their usage in the sentence. So the main verbs or the ordinary verbs are those verbs that they can stand alone in a sentence. We can make a sentence with them easily without the help of any other verbs. But when it comes to changing the sentence to question form or negative form, we will need the help of an auxiliary verb. افعال ordinary یا افعال اصلی با افعال گفته میشن که اینها به تنهایی خود در جمله باقی مانده میتونن و معنای مکمل دارن. اما وقتی که ما بخوایم اونها را به منفی و یا همسواله تبدیل بکنیم، ما نیاز داریم تا از یک فعل کمکی یا helping verb کمک بگیریم. Okay, so let's look at some examples. Sarah is drinking, for example, Sarah is drinking now. So in this example, we have two verbs. One is and the other is drinking. So here is a to-be verb and drinking is an action verb. So which one is the main verb, you think? Yes, drinking is the main verb of the sentence. And is the auxiliary verb. Because the main purpose of our sentence is to say that what happens or the action that is done by the subject of the sentence. Okay, so I'm going to repeat it again that main verbs stand alone in the sentence and helping verbs help us with the sentence in order to change it to the negative form or question form. Let's look at another example. Is Sarah drinking now? So here again, we can say that is comes at the beginning or before the main verb, and it is at the beginning of the sentence now. And it is because we changed the sentence to question form, and we wouldn't be able to do this if we didn't have the helping verb is. ما در این جمله که گفتم is Sarah drinking now is را در اول جمله آوردیم تا جمله خود ما تبدیل بکنیم به سوالیه که بدون is ما این کار نمیتونستیم، در حالی که drinking در جای خود است. Okay, and also we can say that the auxiliary verbs help us understand the tense of a sentence. Okay, یا میتونیم بگیم که افعال کمکی کمک میکنن ما تا زمان جمله را بفهمیم. Okay, for example, we are studying. ما در حال درس خواندن هستیم یا ما درس خوانده هستیم. If we look at the word are or the verb are, it is in present time, which is the present tense, and the main verb is the ing form. If we didn't have the word are, we wouldn't understand that this is the present tense, because if we use the past form, we were studying, it will change the sentence to past form. So the auxiliary verbs help us understand the tense in a sentence. Okay? And also the auxiliary verbs or helping verbs, they help us change the sentence to negative forms. For example, I don't play soccer. So in this example, we have the main verb play, which is the action verb, and it is the main purpose of our sentence, and it is done by the subject of the sentence, which is I. And we have the auxiliary verb don't that helps us change the sentence to negative form. Okay? So there are some other examples also. Let's see what are the helping verbs. The helping verbs can be primary or modals. So primary auxiliary verbs are be, do, and have. They can be, do, or have. And the modal verbs are can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must, and etc. So let's have an example about have here as an auxiliary verb. So if I make an example that we have won the lottery many times. So in this example, you can see that the main verb of the sentence is won, which is used in the third form. Okay? در جمله که من برای شما گفتم we have won the lottery، در اینجا کلمه won فعل اصلی جمله ماست که در حالت سه مخاطب استفاده شده. شاید یه جمله کمی مغلق باشه، اما به خاطر اینکه واضح شده که حرف چطور میتونه به حیث auxiliary verb بیار فعل کمکی بیاید باید جمله را بیان بکنیم. So let's see the sentence in the other way. I'm going to change it like we won the lottery last year. So in this way, we have just one verb here, and that is won, and it is used in the second form. We don't have any other verbs. In this sentence, we understand that this action was just a single event, and it was done or it was finished in a particular time in the past. But in the first sentence I said, we have won the lottery many times. Here, the sentence shows that the action was a life experience and it happened many times before now. Okay? در جمله اول که we have won the lottery گفتیم، در این جمله معنیش قسم است که ما چندین بار لاتری را برنده شدیم و این نشان میده که عمل قبل از حال چندین بار اتفاق افتاده. اما اگر در اینجا فعل کمکی have را ما استفاده نکنیم و فقط فعل اصلی را در جمله استفاده کنیم، فقط نشان میده که یه عمل یک بار در گذشته انجام شده، مثل we won the lottery. فعل اصلی ما won هست و در اینجا کدام تکرار نشان داده نمیشه. پس به او خاطر ما گفتم میدانیم که have هم به نوبه خود میتونه فعل کمکی در جمله باشه و به مقاصد چون perfect tenses هم استفاده شه. Okay? Now let's look at the modal verbs. So modal itself, it means that the mood or modality in the sentence. So what is modality actually? So modality means the manner, the state or condition. Okay? Modal verbs برای ما حالت، وضعیت و یا هم امو شرایط یک جمله را نشان میده که اسپیکر یا کسی که گپ میزنه در کدام حالت این جمله را بیان میکنه. And also we can say that modal verbs show ability, possibility or permission. یا هم گفتم میتونیم مودال ورب ها توانایی، permission یا اجازه را برای ما نشان میتن و یا هم possibility یا امکان را در جمله نشان میتن. Okay, so here are some examples of the modal verbs. They are most common modal verbs. There are some other modal verbs also. Let's have some examples about these. ما modal verbs دیگه هم در انگلیسی داریم، تنها اینا نیستن، اما بیاین که چند مثال در مورد زمین کلماتی که جا نوشتیم هم بگیم. For example, Ahmed can play football. So in this sentence, we can say that can is a modal verb and play is the main verb of the sentence. So the main purpose of the sentence is to show that Ahmad is able to play, and we can use can to show the ability in the sentence. So that is the auxiliary verb and it is a modal verb. Or another example, we will win the game. So in this example, you can see that we have two verbs. One is will and the other is when. So which one is the auxiliary verb, you think? Will is the auxiliary verb and it is a modal verb. The main verb of the sentence is when. So will shows possibility that we will win the lottery. Or we can use might also instead of will. So if I remove will here, we win the lottery, it is like the simple present tense, like we win the lottery or we win the game all the time. Excuse me. We win the game all the time. ما همیشه game میبریم. But if I use the auxiliary verb well, it shows a possibility that we will win the game and it is in the future, so it is not clear yet. Okay? So the other auxiliary verbs also show specific things, and they do specific jobs in the sentence that we will talk about them with details in the next lessons, inshallah. Okay, regular and irregular verbs. So before I start talking about these two types of verb, I want to say that I want to explain this actually, that the verb is used to make tenses in English language. I mean, without the verb, you cannot make or change the tenses. Okay? You know that we have tenses like present, past, and future in English language. So the verbs help us to go from present to past or from the present to future by changing its form. اوکی شما میفهمین که فعل در زبان انگلیسی زمان را نشان میده، یعنی بدون فعل ما نمیتونیم زمان را نشان بدیم. زمان چی؟ یعنی زمان حال، زمان گذشته، زمان آینده. و ما وقتی میتونیم این کار بکنیم که شکل فعل تغییر بدیم. Okay? So now let's see how we can do this. So regular verbs and irregular verbs. Let's have a chart about this. You know that a verb has about 5 forms. If you don't know, now I'm telling you that a verb has 5 forms. یک فعل 5 شکل می داشته باشه. The first one, the base form or the infinitive form of the verb. The second one, the present form. Third one, the past form, and it's also called verb 2. Fourth one, the past participle form. It is also called verb 3. And we have the ing form. Let me leave it like this. Verb ing form of the verb. Okay? So let's have examples about each of these verbs and make it clear about the regular and irregular. As an example, we can have clean. Now clean, the base form, and then we can have the present form, clean or cleans. So you know that in simple present tense, we use S or is with third person singular subjects. And with plural subjects, we don't. So in present form, we can have 2 forms of this verb, clean and cleans. Still, the point is not clear. Let's go ahead. And the next form is past. Clean is going to be cleaned by adding an ed at the end of this verb. And the past participle form is again cleaned, the same form, and the ing form is cleaning. So as you see, the forms of this verb are not very different, and we add d or ed at the end of them. So this shows that this verb has a rule in order to change it from the first form to second form or to third form, which are called regular verbs. Okay? Now regular verbs are those verbs that they have specific rules to change their forms. Okay? Now let's have an example for irregular verbs. We can have go as an example. To go is the base form or infinitive form of the verb. And if we go to the present form, it can be go or goes. Goes is used for the third person singular subject, like he goes, she goes, it goes. Okay? And the past form of go is went. Went. You see, it's completely different. And the third form is gone. Gone is completely different. And the ing form is going. Now this verb does not have any specific rule in order to change its form from the first form to second form. And this verb is called irregular verb. So we can say in short that irregular verbs do not have specific rules to change their forms from one type to from one form to another form. Let's have another example. To do is the base form of the verb, and then we have do or does in the present form, and we have did in the past form, and done in the third form, and doing in ing form. Again, this is also an irregular verb. Okay? And we have another example also, to write. Now write is also irregular verb. Why? Because we'll see. The present form is write or writes. The past form is wrote. No rules. And the third form is written. and the ing form is writing. Okay, now the point is that you cannot guess the other form of an irregular verb because they don't have rules. But with regular verbs, you can, because they have rules, you can follow the rule, you can change its form. فعلهای regular یعنی با قاعده و irregular یعنی بی قاعده از هم تفاوتشون این هست که فعلهای regular شکل مشخصه به خاطر آینده، گذشته، شکل سیام خود به این شکل دارن که قانون مشخص است و اونا رو ما تبدیل بکنیم. اما فعلهای irregular یعنی بی قاعده شکل مشخصه یعنی قانون مشخص ندارن، اما اونا اشکال تثبیت شده ای دارن که اونا رو باید شما یاد بگیریم، حفظ بکنیم. Okay, now again, you cannot guess the other form of an irregular verb and you have to memorize it, and in order to do that you need a dictionary or a specific material to learn the other forms of the irregular verbs. شما نمیتونین شکل دیگه یک irregular verb را حدس بزنین، با خاطر باید از یک دیکشنری و یا هم یک مواد مشخصه استفاده بکنین تا شکل از دیگه را تعیین بکنین. Okay? Transitive and Transitive Verbs. So what are these verbs? Let's see. Transitive verbs are those verbs that they take object. Now you will think that what is an object or what an object is. Okay? An object is the receiver of an action. It receives the action of the subject. That is called object. So transitive verbs need object. Okay? فعلهای transitive با فعلهای گفته میشن که اینها یک مفعول نیاز می داشته باشن. و مفعول چیست؟ مفعول به او کلمه گفته میشن که عمل را میگیره. Or we can say a noun or pronoun that receives the action. یک اسم و یا ضمیری که فعل را دریافت میکنه، یعنی فعل بالاش انجام میشه، او را object میگن. Okay? For example, we can say that Victor ate. So eating is here a verb which is transitive and we need an object for it. So without an object it is not completed. So we complete it like this. Victor ate chocolate. Okay? Now here ate is the verb and chocolate is the object of the verb. Okay? So that is called transitive verb. Ate. And other words like drink, give, make, or burn can be good examples of transitive verbs. Now, intransitive verbs are those verbs that they do not take object. Okay? They don't need object. They can have a complete meaning without an object. For example, she smiled beautifully. Now, in this example, you can see that there is no object after the word or the verb smile. Beautifully is an adverb. It describes the smile, but there's no object because you don't smile at something. Okay? She smiled beautifully. او لبخند زد بسیار مقبول، یعنی به طور بسیار مقبول لبخند زد. کدام مفعول به این کلمه ما یعنی به اسمایل یعنی که ورب جمله است نیاز نداریم. به مفعول نیاز نداره. بالای چیز اسمایل کرده نمیشه. Okay? We can smile. So the words like cry, die, smile, sleep, or stand, they can be good examples of intransitive verbs. And now I'm going to tell you a very important point. Actually, it's a mistake that most of the students do, and that is they forget to give an object for the transitive verb. Okay? یکی از مشکلی که یا اشتباهی که شاگردان معمولا انجام میدن است که object را فراموششان میشه به یک transitive verb بتن. چرا transitive object نیاز داره و باید فراموشتن نشه. For example, Karim cleaned and left. So in this example, Karim cleaned and left. Karim پاک کرد و رفت. What did he clean? So it's not clear because the word or the verb clean is a transitive verb and it needs object. فعل clean transitive است با object نیاز داره، با خاطر باید ببرش object بتیم. چی را پاک کرد؟ Let's make it correct. Karim cleaned his room and left. Karim اتاق خود پاک کرد و رفت. Now this is a complete sentence. Okay? Let's have a recap of all we said today. We had the forms of the verb, One is a state verb or a stative verb. The other one is action verb. Stative verbs do not show any physical action, and they show a state, okay? And they're like have or to be verbs like is, am, are, or the stative verbs like or love, the feelings, and etc. And then action verbs, they show action, and the words like eat, drink, go, run, play, these words can be action verbs. Then we had main verbs, ordinary verbs, and we said that these are the words or the verbs that they can stand alone in the sentence, and they are the main verb of the sentences. And then we have helping verb or auxiliary verbs, and we said that they help the ordinary verbs in some cases. So we divided them into two types: primary helping verbs and modal helping verbs. Primary helping verbs are like be, I mean the to be verbs, is, am, are, or was, and were, and do, like do, does, did, and have, like have, and has, and had. And modal verbs like can, could, may, might, shall, should, will, would, must, etc. Okay? Now these verbs, I mean the helping verbs, we said that they help the main verb in order to change its form to negative and question form, and also to specify the tense in a sentence. Okay? And then we have regular and irregular verbs, and we said that regular verbs have rules to change their forms, and irregular verbs do not have rules, and we have to memorize their forms. And then we have transitive and intransitive verbs. With transitive verbs need object, and intransitive verbs do not need object. Okay? Now if this lesson was helpful, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel in order to receive more learning videos. Until next time, take care.